Welcome back, guys, and it's your boy Skip, and what a week we have had in Starcitizen. Boom! So many things that come out of the verse, so many things that came out of CitizenCon, and we are going to dive into every single one. So, in this little short video, we're going to try and go over all of it. I probably will miss some things. Shout out, comment in the chat if I missed anything. Tell us what your favorite stuff is. But without further ado, let's get into it. So, I thought we'd, go over a few of the, kind of cool things that I thought were okay. Then we'll get into the meaty, and then I think I'll go over the really, really, really good stuff. And we started all off with, finally getting ray tracing. I think this is really, really cool. We're getting ray tracing finally. I believe that the way that they were doing it before was this kind of box texture type lighting that they kind of explained and went on a little bit. And I don't really think I need to explain what ray tracing is and why it's so much better. You get those reflections, it feels more realistic, and the environment just feels real. They're looking to expand this ray tracing out into the entire universe, which kind of confused me a little bit when they went on to like the lighting tech with the planets, because they were talking about the lighting tech on that, and that seemed to be some form of ray tracing. And then they went on to say, oh, we're actually going to put ray tracing across the whole thing. So I guess that just means maybe that the light tech that they were talking about for the planetary stuff will just include ray tracing when it comes closer to objects. Your guess is kind of good as mine. They didn't really explain that very well, or they should have probably put those two bits together when it came to ray tracing and the planetary lighting system. Might have explained it a little bit better how they interlink and how they're going to look in the future, but without, saying too much, it's good to have it in. The other kind of thing they touched on, which they already touched on before, was the UGFs, the underground facilities. Now, these things I've been waiting for, and if you guys watch over at my Twitch, or you join me at Starcitizen at all, you know I love FPS combat. So, more locations that I can shoot and infiltrate and just run an absolute muck, I am all for. And those UGFs look huge. They said they're still in white box. However, what they showed seemed to be a lot further down the road than what I thought they would consider white box. Now, I understand that like white box has stages and they might be like halfway through. They didn't show much of the interior. When I mean interior, they didn't show the big caves or cavernous systems, or, the tunnels or the underground part of the UGF. So I believe that probably is still in white box, and for the most part the kind of top part of the UGFs have been done. Now, I'm kind of in the belief that, well, if you've got the top part done, why don't we just put it in? Because even though we can't go into the UGFs at the moment, it just adds a little bit more environment, some more interesting places, and we can go check it out, and you can just lock off the underground rest of it, and we can go explore that when that comes out. So it's, yeah, here nor there. The other cool feature that's come in is the new character tech. Now, we saw a lot of good character tech come out of Starfield, and I kind of think that set the bar for character tech and character development across the gaming industry. I mean, there has been other games that have kind of gone to that depth, but I feel like Starcitizen has just raised that bar. Some of the new character tech that's come out, the facial features, the blood, the sweating, the crying, just adds another level of realism to the whole character, and I guess makes you feel more invested when you develop the character and make it look, I mean, we can make ourselves look like whoever we want, and it actually looks realistic. So I feel like the character tech is just taking leaps and bounds, and I'm probably not giving it enough justice by talking about it as much as I should, but I don't feel like there's a lot to explain here. We're seeing character tech in other games, and it's been really, really good. I think they've done an amazing job with the character tech here, don't get me wrong, but I mean, there's not much to explain to you guys. It's just a level of cool. The fact that we can dye our hair. I hope that we have hairdressers that we can go to, like GTA. But yeah, it's just a level of cool to be able to have that sort of customization of your character, down to beards and tattoos and other things, which we don't currently have in the verse, and they actually look really, really good. And that kind of leads on to the new engine that they have been working on. Now, I'll talk about this a little bit further down the track at the end of the video, so hang on to your horses for that one. But the reason I wanted to mention it here is because it plays into two other things that they're going to kind of release with the Star engine, which is Star Hair and Star Cloth. I guess because of the nature of the way that these features work, that they're packaging them as 3 different things. But, I mean, it's kind of cool to see how the tech works when it comes to hair and the cloth. And the differentiation between the two. I think the Star Cloth is something that I really haven't seen games do before. Neither is the Star Hair, for that matter. I do believe other games have gotten close to what Star Citizen's Star Hair is meant to be, and done a very, very good job of it. So I don't feel like that's anything really new, but I feel like the Star Cloth is definitely new. Making cloth physicalized and the collision meshes work is something that I don't think any game has actually gotten right. We see a lot of clipping, a lot of fakery when it comes to this in other games, but we haven't seen it actually work for real. And Star Citizens have achieved that with Starcloth. I think it's really, really cool, and especially when you combine it with the Star Engine and the Starcloth, I think maybe other gaming industries might take up Starcloth to implement into their own game. Now, I'm going to shelve that for a little bit because we're going to come back to the Star Engine, Starcloth, and all that in a second. Now, the other cool thing that kind of ties in with this cloth and hair and character building is the new modular armor system. Being someone that was in the army when we went from, you know, the old Vietnam style webbing to the new body armor with molly pouches, and we could customize our own stuff. I think we love that. I think everyone in the army loved that. So the fact that I get this in the game, I particularly enjoy, and again, gives us that extra level of customization of our own character, making the character more us, as in we feel more invested in the character that we're developing. From the character, we move into the first person updates. This goes on to all the visual and effects that they are updating for, you know, your character on the first person. I think some of the cool things that have come out, especially when it comes to the weapons, is the weapon jamming and maintenance. Now, we've seen this in other games. I feel like it has been heavily criticized. Some people like it, some people don't like it. So we'll kind of see where that sits and lies when we actually get it in the game. Whether it becomes over cumbersome, where you have to maintain your weapon every 10 seconds, or whether they balance it really well, I think is going to need a lot of playtesting to get that right. So I don't really want to go into it quite here until we actually get in the game, and we might see a little bit more balancing of that going on and see where that lands. That leads into the new player HUDs and ship HUDs. Now, these have had a massive update from the old HUDs. I think it's been long needed in the PU. These are obviously tech that has been in Squadron 42 for some time, and a lot of this tech has been in Squadron 42 and is being ported over from Squadron 42 into the PU. However, I do really like the customization of the HUD, so you can have as much on your HUD as you like, or you can like minimalize your HUD and have that cleaner, more cinematic effect when you're flying around. I really, really enjoy that because I feel like the HUDs at the moment are very, very cluttered, and being able to choose whether you have a lot of information or not much information, depending on what mission you're doing or what you're doing in the verse, is really good. So really props to the team listening to the player base and making sure that we get that customization for our HUDs. And that kind of leads on from our HUDs to the new sound tech. This also is really, really cool, and I think CIG has kind of starting to understand the community in that some people want some stuff and some people don't. And you really see that when it comes to the new sound. This brings a level of realism to the game, being out of the fact that, you know, you're muffled, that vibrations when you're in space only occur through your body because obviously, you know, there is no air in space, so you can't make those sound wave compressions that your ears can pick up. So you can only see those vibrations through physical touch and feel. And with having this new advanced sound on, that's what you get. When your ship gets hit, you feel that and you hear that. But when you fire and you hit the other ship, you don't hear that. Same with when you're on the ground and the enemy fires at you, you don't hear that. But if it hits you or you fire, you feel those vibrations and you hear those vibrations in your eardrums. So I think that's a really, really cool advancement in that field. And the fact that you can bring that level of customization to your own character and your own experience. And you can turn it off if you don't like it. So I also think that's really, really cool that, again, they're listening to the community and realizing that not everybody's going to like this, but we're going to bring it in. And you can use it if you like. If you don't want to have it, then you don't have to have it. It's all up to you and what your immersion wants to be. And then we come into some of the other cool things. I was going to talk about this, one of the techs first, but I think what I'll do is I might scooch it back a little bit. And I want to talk about the fire tech first, because I think the fire tech in this game is by far the best fire tech and the best display of fire propagation that I've ever seen across gaming. I don't think I've ever seen any fire look and feel more real than what Starcitizen. And I should know, I live in Australia. We literally catch on fire every year. In fact, this year we are actually prepped to have one of the worst fire seasons in the year. So like and subscribe because I might not be here next year. I'm joking, but I'm not. In all seriousness, it is some of the best fire tech I've seen. So massive props to the teams getting that out and layering that fire and making it feel real. I can't wait until we have VR. I'm going to have like flashbacks from my childhood of fighting fires when I was a kid, when I lived up in the mountains. Props to CIG on getting that fire tech right. And that's coming from an Australian that constantly fights fires every year. And I think the fire is a good segue to lead into the engineering. Now, we've seen a lot of the engineering tech already, and they kind of went into the further development of that. I believe this tech has been in there for a while for Squadron 42, and this is very much a porting over to the PU for this tech. And essentially, it's going to become a little bit more chaotic in the big ships. We're going to need crews and all that sort of stuff. And if you don't have crews, the biggest ships are going to be easier to take down than ever before. I think this is really, really cool. It encourages that team gameplay. Also stops people flying in A2 and bombing things by themselves because it will become easier to take them down unless they've got a crew to help them maintain the ship. This also goes into the normal maintenance of the ship, fixing and repairing. I think a lot of this stuff has been explained in previous videos, and you can go check those out of my reviews of the other updates. And I know I haven't done a review for a while, but I think we've covered a couple of those in the engineering field. Coming from an engineering field myself, it's really, really cool to run around and do a little bit of engineering, I guess. The next tech, I think, is really, really cool. And I think this is one thing that a lot of games struggle with. I don't think Starcitizen is here just yet on this tech, but I think they're coming a long way. I do believe Unity probably does a better job at the water tech than Starcitizen. However, I think they've done a really, really good in displaying water tech here. Unfortunately, I think Unity does a better job because they've been trying to get this water tech right. I think a lot of games have been trying to get this water tech right for a long time. And to be honest, I don't think any game, I couldn't put my hands down and say that any game gets water tech perfectly right or makes me feel like it is actually water and looks, smells, feels, touches, whatever. It just doesn't feel like it's quite there with the water tech. I feel like Starcitizen has definitely gone on this endeavor, and especially the lead tech on this is just passionate about water tech. I mean, he was standing up there with like a Japanese shirt with water all over it. So I just feel like the guy just loves his process and how he's designing this. Kudos to him, because if he can get the water tech to feel perfect, I think with the fire tech and having the water tech kind of particleized, smaller, so that it actually reacts like water, we'll have waterfalls, we'll have waves, and even the beach crashes of waves and rivers that intermingle will look really, really cool. And if we can get to that stage, that would be really, really cool. But I think for them to get to that stage, they're going to have to break down the water even further down into smaller and smaller particles and then run simulations from data on real water and how it works in the real world so that they can simulate the water and how it would flow in Star Citizen. And now that is a massive, big endeavor. I know for a fact there are universities in the US that are invested heavily on water simulation, and even they can't get it right. So if Star Citizen gets it right, I think the water tech alone probably could join Starcloth and Star Hair and be Star Water. Because I don't think any game's gotten that right. I did want to cover quickly just on the Zeus. I think that's a really, really cool addition to the game. Again, this is another instance of CIG listening to their community. The community wanted to get their hands on the Zeus ship. Obviously, for lore reasons, that doesn't make any sense. I do hope that we are able to either see the Zeus in-game or, go to Earth and see a museum with the Zeus that we can walk in, just for the kind of lore and nostalgic feel of the game itself, and the fact that it's like steeped in lore and there's actually connection back to, human society reaching for the stars. I think that'd be really, really cool if they do put it in like that. However, the Zeus 2, which is the new ship, is a really, really cool addition. And especially since, again, it's reaching back into that past and tying the past with the present and making that lore really feel like it's coming to life. I don't think there's really much more to say on the Zeus. I like it. To be honest, it might end up being my daily driver. We'll see how it goes in a year's time when it comes out. Now, I saved the last 3 bits of tech because these are probably my favorite pieces of tech. Now, the other 2 pieces of tech are pretty obvious in what they're going to be my favorites because they're pretty much everyone's favorites. But there's one piece of tech in here that I thought was really, really good, and I'll tell you why at the end. Destructible environment tech. The Maelstrom. I nearly went nuts when I saw this. There is multiple reasons why. Firstly, didn't see it coming. I didn't actually ever see that Star Citizen would allow us to go around destroying their environment. Now, obviously, this will be limited to certain things. They're obviously not going to let you go and bomb microtech. Or maybe they will and they'll put some sort of, shield over it or whatnot like that. I don't really know how they're going to develop this, whether they're going to allow complete destruction of the entire environment. But the fact that we're able to now have destructible environments, we haven't seen that in gaming since, I think, Operation Flashpoint, Dragon Rising, or Battlefield Bad Company. They're really the 2 that I kind of reached back to and think of destructible tech that did really, really well. A lot of companies have tried to do this and just really sucked at it, or it just really hasn't worked well with the game. And I think this destructible tech in Star Citizen is going to be an amazing thing. And because my next favorite tech is base building. Oh, if you, again, have ever been on my channel, you know the main reason I started playing Star Citizen was for base building. I literally talked about base building not that long ago on my channel. I was literally going on about this has got to be one of the core features of the game. They need to get base building in, and I still caveat with that, saying that it's probably years away. For a myriad of reasons on why I said that it was probably going to be years away, and I'm still not going to hold my breath with this. But the fact that they showcased it, and they said it, and swear to God, verbatim said what I said on my stream about it, base building in the game, it is one of the core techs that core features that we should have in the game because it makes it ours. You see any game, any open world game that does very, very well, and I mean Bethesda's even cottoned onto this, it always includes base building because it gives you a reason to go mine resources, go do all those missions when you can come back to something that is yours. At the core of open world games, making something yours is everything. And it is the sole reason, again, that I made Star Citizen one of my main games, is because I wanted base building. In fact, my favorite ship is the Pioneer. There's one more thing that I think everyone maybe kind of probably missed, is the fabrication. When it came to the base building, there was other components to this that had come in that I thought was really, really cool, which is the fabrication of things. Now, they alluded to being able to fabricate anything from beds to weapons to what I thought was really, really cool was ships. Yes, we are going to be able to fabricate and start our own ship dealership, which I think is really, really cool, and I'd love to see where that actually goes. Maybe I can be a shoddy ship dealer in the future. Why did I put Maelstrom Destructive Environments next to base building? Now, for the smart people out there, there's going to be an obvious reason. We literally will be defining and building the universe ourselves. As players destroy players' bases or just neglect bases, we will be making our own derelict settlements to discover. 30 years from now, probably not 30 years from now, but years and years from now, we may go to a planet and discover some player's base that is just overrun, run down, and abandoned. And that is, it's nuts to think that we will be, as Star Citizens, shaping the environment. CIG won't even need to populate most of the worlds because they can leave it up to us to do that. And with the destructible environment tech, we're the ones going to make everything. The fact that they even alluded to, which they have previously, that we're going to be making space stations, it's mind-boggling because a lot of the stuff out there, they won't need to do. We will fill the world in for Star Citizen, which I think is amazing, and I don't think any other game has ever given the opportunity for players to fill the world in themselves. I know a lot of games have tried to do that, but they just haven't done it like Star Citizen is doing. And of course, we can't not talk about Squadron 42. Now, again, if you, I keep saying if you've been watching my channel, because a lot of this stuff I was predicting, and I don't know how I couldn't have been more right about a lot of this stuff. I said Squadron 42 is close and on the track for release, and the fact that Chris Roberts himself came out and said they're doing polish pass right now is amazing. Now, caveat that polishing and being someone that works in engineering and goes through the same sort of phases with his own work, polishing something can take some time. If you find bugs, or if you find something that breaks, or you may be fixing a bug and another bug comes up and you end up playing whack-a-mole for like months on end until you get it out and perfect. I'm hoping that we will be seeing the full release of Squadron 42 next year. That's pretty much the recap of the amazing and massive amount of content for CitizenCon that went on over the weekend. I hope you guys can go back and either watch the rest of the videos that I've uploaded about the other patches, see the immense work that CIG has been doing through all the patches in those videos, and see how far we've actually come. And then go check out the Star Citizen channel and the CitizenCon videos, because they are really, really good, as well as the Squadron 42 trailer. I am so excited for Squadron 42. It has been your boy Skippy, and I'll see you guys at my Twitch or in the comments or wherever you want to be. Just remember to subscribe and come over into the Discord, play with us in the verse, or do whatever you want, as long as you have fun. And I'll catch you guys around the verse.